John Jones' ass got lucky tonight. He got lucky. Oh boy, I tell you. You see, this is why I like to go on the record before fights, man. You know, if anybody ever questions my fight knowledge, if anybody ever questions my fight knowledge, man, tonight is a shining example of I know what the hell I'm talking about. All right, I've been watching shit a long time. All right, now, in my opinion, John Jones got lucky when he fought Gustafsson the first time. I thought he lost that fight. I only saw it one time. I didn't see it live. I saw it sometime after the fight happened live. I thought he lost that fight 4-1. I didn't think that fight was close. Gus was moving around like Muhammad Ali, sticking and moving on his ass, and I thought he won that fight. All right. Now, in the second fight with DC with those big heavyweight tree trunk legs of his, utilized a leg kick strategy on Jones to where he was winning the fight before Jones looked up with his roided up ass and kicked DC in the head and knocked him out, which they showed the highlights for that building up this Santos fight, which I don't appreciate. We shouldn't even be showing that shit. He had roids in his system, all right? That shit didn't count. That's no contest. Erase that from history, all right? Now, I said in my pre-fight, before the fight, it's on the record, that, of course, we all know Santos has power. And I mentioned how this guy should utilize the leg kick strategy like DC did. I'm asking why nobody's doing it. Jones has those super skinny legs, man. And, take the guy's legs and, hey, that increases your chance of winning the fight. So, Thiago Santos, I pointed out how he, had a height disadvantage. How it looked like a light heavyweight versus a middleweight in the face-offs. And I also mentioned how Santos was a, black belt in Muay Thai, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This guy showed that he has intelligence. As the smaller man, he was fighting on the outside, sticking and moving on Jones. He utilized the leg kick strategy. He made Jones buckle, in one of the initial kicks. I could see the effects from the first round on Jones' face, the way he was switching stances. All right, he was panicking a bit. He was breathing a little heavy. He realized that he was, yes, in a fight. He talking about, I ain't worried about Thiago Santos. I'm not nervous. Let me tell you something. If they have a rematch, his ass will be more focused, all right, and not as arrogant with his head stuck up in the air, all right. Now, I thought Thiago won the first round. I thought Thiago won the second round. Now, in the post-fight interview, Thiago said that something happened in his leg or in his knee in the first round. All right, I could not tell until the second round when he was throwing a kick and you could see him buckle. I hate seeing that, man. This guy was fighting an excellent fight. He was a heavy hitter. He was fighting great against Jones, man. So, this guy fought, according to him, he fought, 4 rounds on a bad leg, on a bad knee. And having said that, officially, this guy lost by split decision. One of the judges scored a 48-47 for Thiago. How did I score the fight? How did I see the fight? I thought Thiago won the first 2 rounds. I will give the third and the fourth to John Jones. That 5th round is a toss-up round, man. Me personally, because it was so close, I think I would have to call it a draw. And if I absolutely had to pick, maybe I would pick Santos, winning the 5th round. Maybe I'd have to see it again. But that fight was close, man. That fight was close. Either way you look at it, if you felt Jones won, Santos won, you feel it was a draw. It was a close fight. I think everybody should agree to that. You know, and it's unfortunate that Thiago Santos suffered an injury in this fight, man. I would love to know what this guy could have done with, two healthy legs against John Jones, man. Uh, this guy has to get huge props, praise, salute, you know, applause. This guy didn't quit. He didn't fold. He stayed in the fight, man. He tried to win this fight. He tried to change his life. Uh, he should always be proud of this, man. Even though he came up short, didn't get a decision. He should be proud of this effort, man. And I think all the real fans will salute the guy and say, hey, man, this guy, gave Jones a tough fight, with a bad leg, a bad knee, for 4 to 5 rounds. So I think Jones got lucky tonight, man. Hell, he got lucky with the injury to Santos. He got lucky with the judging because hell, there could have been two judges who could have scored for Santos, and I don't think really anybody would have complained. It was that kind of a toss up, you know. So hopefully there will be a rematch. If the UFC is smart, they let these guys heal up. I don't know how long Santos, if he has a torn ACL, he could be out a year, you know. But I would love to see the rematch. I think a lot of people would too. But John Jones has been exposed, man. He's been exposed again. A lot of people weren't zooming in on the legs. I think everybody's going after Jones' leg now, man. If they smart, they should have done it from the DC fight. Um, if Jones fights other guys other than Santos, man, hey, DC combined with Santos, they have shown, Jones' weak spot, man. And I had cousins here watching the fight with me. I was telling my younger cousin, one of them, I was like, look, man, he got them skinny legs. People need to go after the legs, And sure enough, during the fight, that's what happened. He's like, man, you was right. Man, yeah, you was right, man. That's a good strategy. He doing it. It's working. So, Jones, you looked up, you escaped. So, you guys let me know what you think about who won that fight. Me personally, just watching live I would say a draw, man. I would say a draw. I'd have to watch that last round again, but to me either draw or Santos. Maybe I'm trying to be fair to Jones and not be so biased to Santos and say a draw, but that was a close toss up fight, man. And salute to Santos. He did very well and I think earned a lot of respect tonight. All right. Now, Amanda Nunes and Holly Holm. Holly was fighting well. She was doing the right thing. She was sticking and moving. Like I said, Nunes was, she's flat-footed. She has to plant those feet to throw the power. Holly was doing well, man. Possibly winning the round. And at the end of the fight, have to call it like it is. Even with me being a Holly Holm fan, I believe her age showed, man. I can't remember the sequence exactly how it was, because I really only caught it on the replay like once as I watched the event. But, at the end of the fight, it's like she's stepping in. It's like she's hesitant. If I remember correctly, she's hesitant to throw a punch. She has one of her legs cocked up in the air. She's not letting it go. And Amanda Nunes, the younger fighter, she took advantage of it, man. It was like Holly couldn't pull the trigger. Let's just call it what it is, man. She's nearing 38 years old. That sequence, I know she would be disappointed uh, with the way that fight ended and what she did at the end of that fight. It was like she just couldn't pull a trigger, like she was like frozen in time. And Nunes saw the opening. Like I said, the younger fighter, arguably better reflexes, because of the age. And she saw the opening and she took advantage of it. Kicked Holly upside the head. Holly went down on her butt initially. I was upset at the stoppage. I thought it was a bit fast, a bit premature. It was not like Holly was on her back, could not protect herself, like she was unconscious. That wasn't the case. And this is a championship fight. It's a big fight. Both these women trained hard for this fight. And Holly, she got a bell rung. She went down, and Goddard, he stepped in and stopped it. Now, I'm not as outraged as I was because on replay you can see that Holly is clearly, on shaky legs when she gets up. She's not out, she's not falling down, but you can tell she's on shaky legs when she gets up. Now, who knows if the fight continues? Maybe Nunes goes down for some ground and pound. Maybe Holly recovers. Maybe she can avoid Amanda's shots. Maybe she can survive and recover. Maybe that could have happened. Anything could have happened. Maybe she could have grabbed Amanda's leg, and recovered it, very quickly. So, I'm not as outrageous as I was initially, because Holly was on shaky legs. But this was a championship fight. I thought that, Mark Goddard, what is he being too squeamish because it's women? He's, so concerned. If a woman goes down, he wants to save her. I think he should have let it go for a little bit. Championship fight, big fight, a legacy fight for both women. And, I'm not pleased. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not as outraged as I was, all right? I like to hear what Holly has to say. I'm pretty sure she won't make excuses. She'll probably blame herself for the position she put herself in, leaving herself open the way she did. But, I wish it would have gone on a little bit longer. Because like I said, she could have recovered. Because she clearly, after the stoppage, she clearly kind of recovered, and she was walking around and she was conscious, she was aware. So who knows? Maybe Amanda would have dove down, got on the ground, and gave up her standing advantage. Who knows? Anything could have happened, man. So, rest of Nunes, you won the fight. All right. Ben Askren and Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, I have not seen Ben Askren fight a ton. Really, hardly ever. Because I really was not watching Bellator when he was in Bellator. I don't watch one fighting championship. And I missed the fight with Rival Law, except I saw, of course, what happened at the end of that fight. But, this guy for a long time has been considered one of the best welterweights. He was undefeated. A lot of people thought that it was a crime that he was, out of the UFC with his undefeated record, one of the best fighters in the world. Arguably the best welterweight. Some people thought he could have gave GSP a run for his money, if not beat him. And Ben Askren was on this big stage, man. And I'm saying he was a minus 220 favorite at my casino. Masvidal was a plus 180 underdog. And this guy got knocked out in 5 seconds, man. This was embarrassing, man. I feel bad. I don't even really, I think the guy's entertaining from what the stuff that I see him say, Ben Askren. But, I feel bad for this guy, man. You have this career, this undefeated record. You're highly regarded, and you lose your O in this fashion. A guy comes charging out at you and throws a flying knee that you put your head down and catch it with your head, and immediately go out cold for the first time in your career. Your left leg was so stiff, it was up in the air stiff, Man, that's embarrassing, man. I feel bad for Ben Askren, man. Who knows? They were saying that it was taking the guy so long to kind of recover that who knows? This could be a career ender for Ben Askren. It could be. And I thought it was pretty kind of sad and disgusting, man. Why did they not like put him in a wheelchair and wheelchair him out or put him on a stretcher or something, man? For safety precautions. It took a while for them to even get a stool behind Ben Askren, man. And the guy they basically after the guy sits on the stool for a while, after it took forever for that to happen, they basically stand the guy up, they holding him, one person on each side of him, and they walking him out the octagon, they walking him to the back. Why? The UFC, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, state of Nevada, they can't afford a wheelchair, a stretcher. They should have took care of this guy, man, and not have him walking out. After suffering such a vicious knockout, so I thought that was poor, man. I thought that was, I thought that looked bad on the commission, bad on the UFC. You know, if I was around, if I had some authority, he would have been on a wheelchair, being pushed out, or a stretcher, one or the other. So I just wanted to point that out, man. But I hope the guy will be okay because that was a vicious knockout, man. And I felt Masvidal. I know it's bad blood and all that. I don't know. I really don't know everything that was said and done or whatever. But I would have liked to see the guy be a little bit more classy. A little bit more professional after the fight. He's down there taunting the guy, pounding on the canvas. Laying out cold and shit. Laying down, like he's being Askren. I thought that's low class, man. Really not needed. That doesn't really get me excited or, make me jump up and down. You proved your point, fight's over. Let the shit go, man. That's what's one of the best things about the sport, about combat sports. Guys, have problems, they have feuds, they duke it out, they fight it out, and then they shake hands after, man. And, be pros about it. So that's that. Congrats to Masvidal, man. He now has the fastest knockout in UFC history. What's the guy's name? The ref. He looked off before the fight even started. He was standing back, looking all goofy, and he could have stopped the fight sooner than he did. All right, Masvidal throwing with 3 shots that weren't necessary. All right, now let's talk about the fight that made me the sickest tonight, man, and not for reasons that you would think. I am a Strikeforce guy. I love Strikeforce. I love that I had this high level MMA, franchise on Showtime, a network that I, subscribe to. And I didn't pay per-per-view, man. I could just watch all these great fights, these great names, They built up some great young talent. And mixed in with some veterans, all right? So I'm a Strikeforce guy. I'm a Luke Rockhold guy. I'm a Rockhold guy. I'm a DC guy. I support those guys. I'm a fan of those guys, all right? Luke Rockhold is one of the best middleweights of all time. When he was in his prime, when he was on his run, he was smoking guys. I'm talking, he was, first round finishes on guys. Just stopping everybody inside the distance, man. And I said in the pre-fight that if he got knocked out, that he needs to retire, man. Luke Rockhold, you need to retire. And I'm a fan saying this, all right? Just saying a Luke Rockhold hater, all right? I will be tweeting Luke Rockhold. I'll be tweeting Daniel Cormier, a.k.a. everybody involved, all right? What's the guy's name? The striking coach out in Florida that coaches him and coached Adam Rumble Johnson. Hell, if I could find him, Henry Hooft, is that his name? You know, these everybody involved, his family, they tell Luke he needs to retire, man. You know, Luke, he was favored in this fight. He was, I would say the better skilled fighter in the fight. It was talking about if he won, he would have got a title shot. Luke Rockhold has been knocked out in 3 of his last 4 fights. He was knocked out by Bisping. He beat David Branch, but he got caught in that fight and he looked shaky in that fight. All right. Then he was knocked out by Romero, and now he was knocked out by a Jan Blachowicz. All right. His chin was exposed in the Bisping fight. All right. Now that's that's 3 knockouts in his last 4 fights. He was also knocked out by Belfort. That's 4. And he was knocked out in his second fight in his career. So he's been knocked out. In all 5 of his losses, he's been knocked out. He's been stopped by some form of strikes. All right. That's it. That's enough, man. He don't need to take no more punishment, man. Not to the head. He don't. He do his modeling shit. He's made money, good money in MMA, good money doing modeling gigs, and he should enjoy his life, man. Stay in shape and just enjoy life. Go down as one of the greatest middleweights of all time. He had nothing to be ashamed of. He was a Strikeforce champ. He was a UFC champ, and he should not hang his head, man. But he needs to retire, man. And I'm saying that as a fan. Like I said, at the end of the first round, he got caught, possibly, kind of behind the head, with the shot, and then he kind of caught a grazing kick to the top of the head, had him a little shaky, all right. And then, of course, in the second round, he got caught with his hands down, got caught with a 2-piece, and was put out, and I knew the guy couldn't take those shots, man. And while I'm feeling bad about Luke, I want him to retire. It's hard to see one of my guys go out like that. I'm disgusted I didn't make money off this fight, man. I know that's cold blooded, but hey, if you serious about sports investing, if you will, you have to play the smart odds, man. And I realized it right before this fight started, when it was too late, that I should have zoomed in on this opportunity, and I missed out, man. I knew that Luke had a shaky chin. Talked about it in the pre-fight. And for some reason, in the lead up to this fight, I really wasn't even thinking much about the fight. But, I should have looked at the odds for Jan Blachowicz to win by knockout. Because really, that was his only hope, in my opinion. I don't see him winning a decision against Luke Rockhold. I don't see him, submitting Luke Rockhold. And with Luke having a shaky chin, really, at this point, anybody who can really touch that chin could catch Luke and get him out. All right. When I checked the odds after the fight, I saw at my casino I could have got a plus 500 on Jan Blachowicz to win by knockout. Plus 500. Whew. That opportunity just went right by me. I was not thinking about it, until right before the fight when they showed the odds. And John Anik was talking about, how money had been coming in on Luke Rockhold. And I'm thinking to myself, really start thinking about the odds for the fight. And I'm thinking about, what about Blachowicz winning by knockout? What is that line like, And I missed out, man. A small player could have got a couple $100 on a small play, So, that sucks, man. And we probably won't get those kind of, if Luke continues, I doubt we get those kind of odds on a knockout, regardless of who he's fighting, And if he does continue to fight, I will play whoever he fights to win by knockout, man. But he needs to retire Luke Rockhold, you need to retire, man. You know, uh, you know, I don't count that Vitor Belfort knockout against him, because that was a spinning knockout that he didn't see coming. Nobody saw that shit coming, you know. But but the Bisbing knockout, that was bad. He was heavy. He was a 10-1 favorite in that fight, and he got stopped by Bisbing. I was kind of giving him an excuse with the knee, because he had a bad knee in that fight. But his chin was exposed by Bisbing. You know, and then of course, hey, Romero is he's a strong dude, man. He can turn out anybody's lights. So really no shame in that, but but that's more damage, significant damage, And like I said, he was caught before that in the branch fight, but he was able to stay in and win the fight. And now tonight, you know, that guy named Jan Blachowicz, all right, um, did that to the great Luke Rockhold, man, one of the best middleweights of all time. And he moving up fighting, which I thought of, but it's all along. He fighting these bigger, stronger guys. He's no longer a quote unquote weight bully, size bully at middleweight. He's fighting guys more his size and who punch harder than guys at middleweight. So this was a terrible missed opportunity by me, man. Uh, and I really regret that shit. All right. And finally, the opening fight on the main card, Diego Sanchez and Michael Chiesa. I looked at the odds for this fight weeks ago. Uh, you know, I was thinking about possibly playing the fight because Diego is a smaller, older fighter. He really should be retired. He needs to retire. He's taking too much damage. He's gonna have some, in my opinion, probably some serious health issues. Even with the damage that he's accumulated, it'd be a sad story, a sad look, you know. But the guys wanting to fight in the UFC, they gonna keep putting him in there, making money off of him, making money off his name, They using him to build up guys, just like they used Gilbert Melendez to build up Arnold Allen, all right. Uh, but Michael Chiesa was too big for Diego Sanchez, man. Too big, too young, too prime. Say a wipeout fight, And Chiesa shit the bed against Anthony Pettis. That's why one of the reasons why I stayed away. And Diego had, overcome the odds, and he beat Mickey Gall, who was a favorite over him. And with those two things in mind, man, I stayed away from it. But you know, it went like it was supposed to. Chiesa dominated the smaller, older guy. And they bigging up Chiesa, talking about his wins over Diego and Carlos Condit. Look, Carlos Condit is finished. He's been finished. His head and his heart is not in it in the sport. He was flip flopping. Do I want to fight? Do I want to retire? He's been done. All right. And Diego was a 155 pounder, a small guy that he beat up on at welterweight. All right. So let's see him beat somebody in the top 10, before we go gaga over Michael Chiesa. All right. So I think that's it, guys. Nearly a 30-minute post fight for me. But, to wrap up, I wonder where Holly will go from here. Um, could she be thinking about retirement, man? It might not surprise you, man, because I mean, she has a lot of opportunities, man. You know, hell, she fought for the inaugural uh featherweight title, which I thought she won that fight. I didn't think that fight was close. I think I scored that 5-0 for Holly. She was getting fouled and shit, and Jermaine Durandamy, just got the belt and then dropped it because she didn't want to fight Cyborg. I thought Holly won that fight personally. She should have got her glory as a two-division champ. But she fought for that belt. Then she fought Cyborg for the belt. Um, that was her third title fight, and then well, of course, she fought Ronda in her first, and then she had those two title fights. Then she had this fourth one against Amanda. And with Amanda being having both of the belts, it's not like she can really compete for I don't think they're gonna put her in, for one of those belts. She would have to go on quite the run, and you know, I mean, she would just be at this point. They would just use her to try to build up, up and coming girls. She could fight, some maybe some marquee names to make some money, maybe like a um, Casangano or something like that. But I think she would be far, far away from a title shot again at this point. She had to go on a big time run. Uh, and they talking about Amanda Nunes doesn't have any competition. She clean out the division. That's not true. She needs to fight Caitlin Vieira. I don't know where the hell she is. She hadn't fought in over a year at this point, I believe. What's going on with her? Is she dead injured, dead preoccupied? This is one of the best, hell, the best young talent in the division, probably in all of women's MMA. And look, they give her a little tune-up fight and put her in with Amanda, man. Amanda, she could fight. If I was promoting her, I would put her at a stadium in Brazil, headlining, probably against Cyborg if she can win the next fight, or maybe like Kazangano. Kazangano, she can fight at 145. She's a big girl, and that would be a rematch. She lost to Cat, years ago. So Cat was DDTing her all over the octagon. It just shows how much a man has improved. These fighters, man, they can improve, man. You know, so that's what I think should happen, man. And if Nunes vacates, hey, I want to see Caitlin Vieira fight. And I don't know why Jermaine Durandamy is ranked number two, ranked number one. I mean, hell, she dropped her belt, and I don't think she's fought since then. You know, that's crazy. She shouldn't even be in the top five, so I'm concerned. All right. And finally, it's gonna be interesting to see how long Jones and Tiago gonna be out. Um, if they are out around the same amount of time, you know, maybe they could do an immediate rematch, man. It'd be money in it, man. Santos has nothing to be ashamed of. Should not hang his head. I think he made a lot of fans tonight, man. Got a lot of respect. And hey, some people, I'm pretty sure a lot of people might feel he won the fight. And he won. People feel that he won. People feel that Jones won, or a draw. Is that kind of fight. So I just wish I could have seen the guy, fight 100% healthy throughout the fight. Jones' ass looked up again. So I think that's it, guys. Long post fight for me. Hadn't watched UFC pay per view in a while, and this was it was a good one. I don't know if I say great, but it was good. Had some hell. We had 1 5-round decision in the main event. Let's see, 1 2 first round stoppages, then a second round stoppage, and then 1 3-rounder when they went the full 3 rounds. So I would have liked to have seen an upset. In one of the championship fights, but it didn't happen. So I think that's it, guys. Let me know what you think, and if I missed anything, I'll leave a comment in the comment section, and I will check in with you guys soon. Thanks for watching.